looks like it's working. So I did one the other day, and I was using Podtrak P4, also using this microphone, SM58 microphone, and I was recording directly to a Chromebook. I was using the Chromebook's, video record feature. Chromebook camera was a little bit lacking. So what I did is I had, let me start this recording. Hey, what's up, y'all? So I'm recording now. Recording with, last time I used my Podtrak P4, this thingy right here, used it as an audio interface so that I can get the audio from my SM58, had that all plugged into my Chromebook, and used just the camera on the Chromebook. The video was lacking a good bit, so what I did is I used like a softbox to give it some extra light to make it look better, and it still looked pretty terrible. It looked pretty terrible. What I'm doing this time, same setup, SM58, Podtrak P4, but I have them all directly connected to my Android phone, and I'm using a front-facing camera for my Android phone. I think this is going to yield better video results and similar equivalent audio results. I got the whole thing on a tripod. I got the camera, the cell phone on a tripod, and it's like the brains of the operation. It's the superstar, the motherboard, so to speak. But I like this because this is a very portable setup. Like the whole thing could fit in a bag. Like you can fold, this is a tripod, it folds up. The whole tripod folds up small enough to fit in this bag. And you know how small an Android phone is. You can see how small this is. You can see how small this microphone is. Yeah, you can put all this stuff in like a normal size book bag and you're good to go. You got like a mobile podcasting setup. One of the things that's really interesting about this Podtrak P4 that I didn't realize before is I don't have batteries in it right now. It's taking its power directly from the mobile phone. I don't know how quickly it's going to drain the mobile phone battery doing it like this. So the mobile phone's powering itself. It's powering the Podtrak P4, and it's powering this microphone and these headphones. So one of the good things about this Podtrak P4, like let's say you bring the whole setup, you get, 3 more mics, 3 more mic cords. You bring the whole setup to an open mic, you bring the whole setup to a comedy club or your buddy's house, and you can have a 4-person podcast just like that with just this device, your mobile phone, and your microphones and microphone wires. And it can even be like a video podcast. That's incredible that we have access to this sort of equipment like this. Yeah, I'm really thinking this video. So the lighting in here, I'm actually, I live in New Orleans, so I had to evacuate. I'm in like middle of nowhere, Florida right now, in my grandmother's garage, chopping it up. My relatives, they think I'm insane. They think I'm crazy. The AC doesn't really work in the garage, so got to keep it dry. Another thing that I would have changed about the last video is it was very haphazard as far as the content. I thought the content was good. It was maybe like 3 major sections of content. I thought it was very good. Really enjoyed it, but it didn't really go together. It didn't really flow. More sophisticated podcasts, they would edit it together or possibly release the individual sections by themselves as opposed to one long thing. So that's something to look forward to. Also, once I finally posted the thing to YouTube, the thumbnail, I used this software, Adobe Spark. I used Adobe Spark to make the thumbnail. I'm not very good at art, but there wasn't much to do because the image quality was so poor from the original video that the thumbnail was also very low quality. Tried to jazz it up a little bit, add some graphics, but you can only do so much, garbage in, garbage out, sort of like my content. So the thing I want to talk about with like mobile phones and tripods is recording sets. Like there are multiple reasons why you'd want to record your sets. You might want to record your sets for study. Most of us are really used to recording our sets audio only. That's great, and that's a great way to study. But if you record video, because what is it? I think it was, I talk about Jerry Seinfeld a lot. I love Jerry Seinfeld. Definitely his comedy. So he talks about it took him maybe 5 or 6 years before he realized that he could be funny from the neck down. That it's about body movements, coordination, what's the word? Choreography, things like that. You look at like, I have trouble pronouncing this brother's last name, Italian last name, Sebastian Maniscalco. I believe it's an Italian last name. He's so physical and he uses so much of his body on stage to elicit laughs and to tell the story. Or you look at like a Robin Williams or a Cat Williams. Both of these guys, they were everywhere. Like they're doing everything. Cat Williams is amazing. His choreography is so great. And he's telling so many jokes with his shoulders, with his hips, with his feet, with his knees, just the movements. And that's something that you can't really get just from listening to your sets. Sometimes the punchlines are nonverbal. Those two guys are great examples. And I never really thought about that until I heard Jerry Seinfeld say that. And that's something you can achieve through watching the videos of your sets. Me personally, I've never made it through more than 30 seconds of a video of one of my sets, but I'm getting there. We're going to get there. And one of the things, you have this tool that we all have, our smartphones. We can use our smartphones to record video. There are some downfalls to recording with your smartphone. Maybe you're like me, you're more of an open micer, more of a hobbyist, not like a high level, paid comedian, professional track comedian. And so a lot of times, like folks like me at open mics or stuff like that, we might use our phone for our notes. We might like to have our phone on stage with us to record our audio so we can listen back to it later. And we're just used to it. That's a habit. So if your phone's out in the audience, you don't have it with you. Also, the whole idea that you have to start the recording before you get on stage, that's like a mental cliff. And, what I do when I record my phone is I'll start it, the comic before me, when that person starts, I'll start it recording and just go back. There's there's a chance that somebody might jostle it or press the button. Comedians are jokers. They like to mess around with each other. They might stop your recording. The way to get around that is I recommend having like a comedy buddy, somebody, you record them, they record you. They're in charge of your recordings, you're in charge of theirs. That way you can get around, people bumping it or having to think about, oh, it's time to start it, oh, it's time to stop it. You just get yourself a comedy buddy. Another issue with recording from the mobile phone, mobile phones don't have the best range, because a lot of times in these comedy clubs, we don't really have control over where we're allowed to put our camera. Some places have designated spots. They might be far away. Some comedy clubs, it might be close, might be right next to a speaker. And so with the mobile phone, you don't really have a lot of control over where you put it. It's only good from certain distances. It's only good when it's so close to a speaker. But if you find yourself frequently working in a place where you can get good recordings from a mobile phone, getting a tripod, mobile phone holder, and just putting it in there and recording, it's completely doable. One of the things that a lot of people, it throws them off from using a mobile phone to record it. Let's say you're able to get it in a spot where you can clearly see the stage, where the speakers aren't interfering with your audio, the lights aren't interfering with your video, well lit. One of the other issues you might have normally when they have it like that, you have the issue of people walking in front of the camera, and your camera does this thing where it loses focus, then it regains focus. There is a feature to lock the focus on your cell phone. Man, I wish, like if I were, like right now I'm trying to do a DIY, trying to do it as low budget as possible, but maybe later I'll actually do like a full video on just how to record sets from your mobile phone. There's a way to lock the focus so that when somebody walks by, and you can do this on an Android, iPhone, whatever, where when somebody walks past your camera, it doesn't focus on them and then jump back to you, where it just stays focused on you. It ignores them. There are different mobile phones are better at it or worse at it, but there's a way to just straight up lock the focus. Highly recommend figuring out what that process is for your specific mobile phone. So I think that was pretty helpful, useful. Do I have any good anecdotes about recording yourself with a cell phone? I don't think so. So that was good, man. I think we're gonna figure this out together. We're gonna get it. I like how much better this video quality is. The video quality for something like this, if you're mobile, you're podcasting, could be even better if I use the rearward facing camera. Typically on smartphones, your rear camera, your camera that you use to take pictures of other people, video of other people, tends to be a lot higher, tends to produce a lot higher video quality than your selfie camera, right? So if you really wanted to get the highest quality for your self-produced video podcast, you'd use the rear-facing camera, not the selfie camera. So yeah, I think we're gonna figure this out together. I think that was pretty good for today. Made some improvements, and this is worse lighting than it was in my room with the last video. I'm actually, I'm gonna try and splice in video from the from my tablet. I'm going to try and splice some of that video in. I'm doing all my editing on the tablet or on a mobile phone. We're doing this real low budget, but we're going to do it together, and I'm here for you guys, man.